Charles and Leslie. Charles.
Hey, Alicia.
Hey, Leslie. All right, great. We are all set. This is the cleanest edition of Entrepreneurship Matters with amazing entrepreneurs. I'm gonna make all cleaning jokes throughout this whole entrepreneurship matter. I know it's gonna happen. Let me set us up, give people background on you, and then we're gonna launch right into the conversation. What we all know is that entrepreneurship and businesses aren't built in a day, that it takes a lot of grit, a long-term commitment, and a lot of perseverance to make it happen. It is our pleasure. This is our 27th week of featuring amazing entrepreneurs. And this is all about cleaning today. Huge thanks always to the person who was the brainchild of this, Cameron Moses. She's another entrepreneur. She's an owner of KRS Smoothies. And we are just pleased to have Charles and Leslie. Let me say this. I may say Chuck and Charles many times during this, and that's because Charles and I went to high school together at Mervo. Charles is a native Baltimorean. He went to Mervo, graduated, same trade, and then graduated from the Morgan State University. Following his heart for entrepreneurship, Charles has started several businesses. We'll talk about that. This is not the only one. And working for the federal government, he realized the importance of entrepreneurship and following his passion to make him happy. Charles and his business partners started a commercial cleaning business in 2001, went through the economic crisis, we'll even talk about that, and emerged in 2018 to reinvest back in the cleaning business to what it is today, which is priority commercial cleaning. So welcome, Charles. Leslie, hey. The other lady in red, we're both wearing red today, Leslie. It's the color, it's the best color. Is the president and co-owner of D&L Commercial Cleanup. This is a business that she started with her mother, Donna, hence the name D&L. Leslie is a proud graduate of Spelman College. She worked several years in corporate America and is executive assistant to the president of a general contracting firm, after which she worked in as a commercial property manager. And that really fueled her fire to what she has built today, which is really an enterprise. She also is a 10 KSB graduate, and we'll talk about that. She has a beautiful story about that part of her journey. And she has been married for 31 years to a college sweetheart and has 2 children and a beautiful grandson. So why don't we go right into it? Because both of your stories are inspiring. What inspired you to be an entrepreneur? Why don't we start with Leslie and then we'll go to Charles?
What inspired me to be an entrepreneur? Honestly, I think I was born to be one. I think it was just in my blood. I knew that I always wanted to do something, but I didn't know for the longest time exactly what. Picked around several ideas for years and just nothing seemed to fit. There were all kind of, I would talk myself out of all kinds of reasons why I shouldn't do this or do that. And, you tell your friends or your family member and, someone will say, oh, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, or you're not gonna make any money doing that, or whatever. And I realized that, when something is put in your heart, you just have to do it. And it doesn't, you don't need anyone to tell you whether you can do it or not do it. You know you can do it, so do it. So those 2 positions that you mentioned, me working for a general contractor, I would sit outside his office and do things, and I'd hear conversations, I hear stuff, and I'd start inching closer, and I'd go and look over his shoulder and see what he was doing. And he saw that I was interested. He took interest in me. He taught me how to read blueprints, and he got me involved in the bidding process, and he would give me divisions to get bids for. And so he got me involved, and I loved it. It was exciting. And, this was back in the day when you would have to, hand the bids in person. So I would be, we would get the bid form together, and then I drive to wherever the bid was being delivered. And then we'd be on the phone or on the Nextel radio, beep, beep, you know, and he'd give me some answers or whatever. And so we fill it in and take off running and get it in there before the deadline. So I thought that was exciting. And I knew, you know, I saw some of his needs as far as like, you know, I knew he needed, the buildings needed cleaning before they turned it over to the owner or to the owner of the building. And I knew that there were, I would see various needs that were presented. And then later on, well, so then I got laid off from that position during the economic downturn in the early 2000s. And so I went on to work for a property management company. And there I would see these multi-million-dollar cleaning contracts come across my desk, and I figured, hey, I can do that, you know. I would do the cleaning walkthroughs with the cleaning companies, and I just knew that you know what our company was spending on cleaning and the service we were getting for that. I just knew that I could do it better.
And what
so,
year was that? What year was that, Leslie?
What year was that we launched our business in 2009 during another economic downturn. But yeah, that's kind of what inspired us. You know, it was things that just kept falling into place.
Excellent. Charles, what inspired you to be an entrepreneur?
Yep. So first, thanks for having me, Alicia.
Pleasure.
So what really inspired me was just a passion to have something of my own, to have a legacy, to leave something behind, and just for people to say, you know, that was, you know, Charles's. That's what Charles built. That's what Charles made. As I started a family, it became a thing of, oh, you know, I want for my family to have this legacy, and if it's something that the kids will follow, then so be it. If they have their own passions, that would be great as well. So, you know, that's where that's why I went into entrepreneurship, just having that passion of wanting something of my own. And it just made me happy to say that I built this and I'm doing it. So that's where that comes from.
Excellent. Both of you said a couple, you know, some things. One, you're born into it. One had the burning desire to create something of your own. And we've had conversations with many entrepreneurs, and you all have something in common, that you're creating something unique in the marketplace for folks. So there are a number of people, I see a number of our frequent viewers on here. So really glad to see everybody. I know that they have this question. So you had an idea, Leslie, you saw those blueprints, you saw the invoices coming across the desk. Charles, you probably noticed that this was a niche where there was an opportunity. How did you go from idea to then going to opening a business, you know, having employees, doing this work full time? And I'll start with Charles and then go to Leslie. How did you go? What were the steps you went through to start your business?
So, well, the first thing that kind of happened with the cleaning business was that opportunity was presented to me and my partner to start a franchise, a cleaning franchise. So we got into the franchise, so we were actually doing the work hands-on. We noticed that from that company, with the training that they gave us and things like that, that it could have been better. So like Leslie stated, you know, you would walk into places and you saw that, hey, you could do this much better. So we started to build other clientele outside of the clients that the franchise gave us. So then we quickly learned that, well, there's more to just going into a business and saying, you know, we want to clean for you and things like that. So just the basic stuff that we started off with was just some education about cleaning, knowing the proper things to do. Then that takes you into insurance, the type of cleaning insurance that you need. And opening up a LLC, registering your business with the state. So those are some of the basics where you can start for your business. And then you'll learn things as you're moving on. Like I said, we were boots on the ground when we first started. So we actually learned a lot just being in there and physically doing it, and not just hiring people to do the work and contracting out people. So we were physically doing it. It was a lot of work. You know, it's not easy when you first start because you're in there, you know, getting dirty, you know, gloves on, your gloves are breaking as you're cleaning and things like that. So it's a lot of work when you first start, But as you grow, you'll start to scale up, and then you'll start to find other ways to remove yourself from the work from the work itself, and employ people, which is a great feeling once you employ people. So that's how we got started, and and we're still progressing.
No, great. I want to put out some points. I know people are taking notes. First, you talked about beginning with a franchise and learning the business, doing the hands, learning the soup to nuts of the business. Then you talked about educating yourself about the trade, about the business itself, the substance of the business, and then getting your books in order, getting your insurance, your LLC, and eventually thinking about employing folks and setting up that infrastructure. Excellent points for folks who are taking notes, trying to figure out how to start their own businesses. Leslie, how did you begin your business?
Google. I Googled how to start a business. I had no idea. Once we decided, we had to figure out our niche, like you said. We started in 2009, which was the middle of the housing collapse. So we saw all of these businesses, all these buildings, all these homes that were for sale or for foreclosure. And that's actually our name, DNL Foreclosure Cleanup. That's how we started. We decided to, since there were so many foreclosed properties on the market, we decided that we would get into cleaning foreclosed properties. We had never, I never owned a business before. I was still actually working my full-time business with the commercial real estate company. So I figured, I wasn't ready to step away from that yet. I needed to make some money doing my own thing first. So we just Googled how to start a business, and we filed our LLC paperwork with the state, like Charles said. We got our EIN. We went through all those things. But literally, Google, there's a whole list of things like do this, open your bank account, and do all these things. So we did that. Then we started reaching out to the people who actually held these properties that were in foreclosures, like the banks and the real estate companies. And we discovered that, they were already losing money on these properties because the people weren't able to pay for them, so they went into foreclosure. So they really weren't trying to spend a lot of money to have these things cleaned out, we discovered. So I can get into our pivot later, but that's how we got started. We just did some research of how to start a business and follow some steps and asked a couple people that we knew already in business.
That's really interesting. I mean, both of you did research, very different types of research, figuring out, literally Googled, found your way to understand all the component parts, and you are a Spelman woman, so you are brilliant. So you were able to piece it all together and really launching your business. Let's move to that pivot point. I want to stay there while you both talk. Let's talk about pivots, because Charles, I know you took a pivot in your business in 2007, 2008. It wasn't COVID, but it certainly was another very much a pressure point for everyone. Leslie, talk about your pivot point from your business, and then Charles, I'd love for you to talk about your pivot point, because I think that's instructive as we talk about this time we're in right now. So Leslie, how did you talked about the pivot, you were in foreclosures, and then?
Yeah, and then we had some difficulties, really getting any lucrative contracts in the foreclosure cleanup. So we decided that there was still a lot of cranes going up and things like that. And we knew there were still opportunities. Everything has to be cleaned. We knew that. We briefly got into cleaning homes, but we did not want, we wanted to do something bigger. And also, I knew that from the property management company, anytime something came up missing, it was always the cleaners. Whether we had been there or not, it was just always the cleaners. Their kids could have moved it, thrown it away or whatever, but it was always the cleaners. A mug could be in the dishwasher when they can't find it, but the cleaners.
If something's missing, it's the kid or the cleaner.
Right, it's just always the cleaner. So we didn't want to get involved in residential cleaning. We just didn't. So we went the commercial route. We we see cranes. It's not uncommon for us to see a crane somewhere in the city building something. We always keep our personal protection equipment in the car. We will hop out of that car and run over to a job site and see what's going on. And we pivoted and got into what I knew from working from the general contractor, that there was a need there. So that's what we started doing. We hit the ground and started going, meeting with general contractors, going to job sites, construction sites, and asking them, you know, you have a cleaner? Well, you need one. You know you need one. You can't turn this building over.
So you literally had your hard hat in your car and your boots.
Yeah.
And put them on.
To this day, yes. Yes.
That's hustling. That's Charles, isn't that hustling?
Yes, it is.
That's a hustle. How did you pivot? Because I know you started actually in 2009, Charles, and then or 2000.
Oh, it was like early 2000 we started. Then we went through the crisis. That it was a big economic crisis. So a lot of businesses, they had to cut where they can. So cleaners were one of the first things to go, so that they could save money. And it's funny that Leslie brought up that, all these foreclosures started to pop up. So at the time, I think we had about 4 to 5 employees. We were holding on to. The business was making very little money, but we wanted to make sure that we were putting money in other people's pockets. So eventually, those contracts were gone. They could no longer sustain paying cleaners. So our big pivot was actually going into real estate. So those foreclosures and things that were out there, we said, hey, what can we do to get into this real estate game, this real estate market? So we actually started buying and selling properties. That was the route that we went. I then began to buy rental properties in Baltimore City. And since then, I've started to develop a passion for real estate and getting into development, which Alicia gave me some education on that about how I could lose my shirt. So very interesting.
Always talk about using debt. Don't use your money.
That's right. That's right. So, I'm still building a real estate portfolio. But then my partner said, hey, he was doing some more research for the cleaning business, and he said, hey, we were doing a lot of things right, and I think that this is a good time to pivot and just bring it back up. So in 2018. He started doing a lot of research. He was doing all of the educational pieces, and I'm the doer. So he would say, this is what they said, this is what we have to do. So then I would just start doing it, just start building whatever it was he said we had to do. So if it was systems we needed in place, I would just start doing the research and getting those things started. So next thing so we're still building our foundation, trying to get there. So we actually we didn't start doing any type of promotion for business or anything. We were looking for employees, just kind of building a database of people that we could hire and things like that. Then all of a sudden, as we are interviewing, we start hearing about this COVID crisis. You started to hear about it. So now we couldn't interview people face to face. Businesses were closing up. We were thinking, what are we going to do? But then we quickly thought, this is the time. This is the time that these businesses really need to step up their cleaning. This is the time that they need to be in healthy environments. This is the time that they need to have safe spaces for children, safe spaces for kids, restaurants, supermarkets, everywhere. So while the COVID crisis, we saw it hurt a lot of cleaning businesses because they have overhead. So when businesses could not afford them anymore, these cleaning companies couldn't sustain anymore because they have overhead, but then yet the businesses are cutting them. Well, here we are just starting back up. So we just started collecting as much PPE gear as we could, doing research on the proper chemicals and things to buy and purchase. So we just started building up that arsenal. Then we just started putting ourselves out there with a soft roll, actually getting some calls and things like that, doing some cleaning and just seeing how this was going to go. Then we just went full speed, just started putting ourselves out there, acquiring more people. We hadn't done a lot of marketing, but just by word of mouth from our clients, we were getting more calls. So it was calls after calls. So we just started this thing snowball and what it built up to. But for us, we really saw that, hey, this was a need for everyone to just be in a safe, clean environment. Our focus was on commercial as well. We never really wanted to do residential, like Leslie said. There's just so many things behind the residential. Something goes missing. If you put a nip on the wall because you're vacuuming or something like that, then it becomes an issue and concern. So we stayed with the commercial. Things are going well. Things are going well with that. We don't plan on going residential. And what we noticed is that restaurants were being affected because of COVID. But when they were able to open back up, they said, hey, we want to show our customers that, we're doing something, something to protect them. So we offer a lot of education to our clients. So before we, sign them up or before we start services for them, we're sending them a lot of literature about cleaning. We're okay if you go with the other guy, but we want you to be educated so that you can make the proper decision. I may want to come to your restaurant. I want to feel good about being in a safe environment. So I want you to take the proper steps. So next thing
we had candy last week. It was like giving the chocolate for free first, and then people buy the box.
Yep. So then the business just started building. We started getting a lot of calls from restaurants that wanted to be clean, sanitized, and disinfected. So, we were doing that, and then we just started getting more calls from law firms, other big facilities, BG&E, a lot of places. So that's how it built up. But during this time, we were just still educating ourselves, still doing the research, and just applying what we were learning.
Well, what's interesting about what both of you have said is you both pivoted in hard times toward where the industry went, right? So when the foreclosure, nobody wanted to spend money on that. You went commercial. When COVID happened, you recognize cleaning the one thing everybody is focused on, and you've been able to do well. So let me, I know both of you have many things to be proud of in your business. And I know for everyone watching, let me do this before I keep going. I forgot to tell everyone, you can also engage in this conversation. I'm having too much fun. So you can also engage. You can put your comments in the chat on Zoom. On Facebook, you can certainly put your comments on Facebook. We have folks watching that. Or if you're listening on your phone, you can text us 22333 and type JHUWL in the text. And I'll get all of those questions and make sure they're answered by Charles and Leslie. Now, can you talk about your greatest accomplishment? I'll start with Leslie. What has been over the years your greatest accomplishment?
Our greatest accomplishment. Surviving all the tough times.
Hey, surviving. Hey, that is an accomplishment.
It is an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Our very first large project actually was Maryland Live, and we're very proud of that because we were nobody. No one really knew who we were. We were a new company, but we were out there. Like we said, we'd hop out of the car and go. We met people. We get in people's faces, and we made our name known. And someone took a chance on us, connected us with the company building Maryland Live, and we ended up doing the post-construction cleaning for it. So we were very proud of that. But we've done some really large projects. We've done the Exelon headquarters here in Baltimore. We were on that project. We were on the Maryland Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. And currently we are working for a major national food distribution company. And they really had to ramp up during this whole pandemic. They were told to make sure their food is out there, keep those trucks rolling. And so we have to make sure that we keep that facility clean, because they employ hundreds of people. And so, suddenly now cleaning has a whole new respect. It used to be, especially being final cleaners, construction cleanup, we were always we're the last people in the building, or we should be the last people in the building before they turn it over. And so if a project is over budget, or they try to squeeze us in at the end, and they don't realize how much time and what detail it takes to clean a building thoroughly. And so I felt like cleaning did not have the respect it needed. And now people are looking at it completely different, and they're making sure they have a budget for cleaning. Yeah, they need to
You're
make
like the LeBron and Sabrina of industry, right? I mean,
right.
this is your Super Bowl. This is your Super Bowl
Here's our Super Bowl. We are essential.
championship.
Right? We are essential. And so,
Yes, you are.
Yep.
yeah.
Charles, what would you say? What's been your greatest accomplishment?
Yep. So our greatest accomplishment, each and every time we have the opportunity to hire someone, we look at that as an accomplishment, because the people that we're hiring, they live here in our community. They're from our community. Most of our business is right here, in the Baltimore area and surrounding counties. But this is our community. So every time we just have the opportunity to hire someone, that is an accomplishment for us. We feel good about it. Someone's looking for employment, especially during this time. If you are able to hire someone and help them out, that is an accomplishment. So that's what we really feel great about. The next accomplishment was that we've had the opportunity to support some local Little League teams and things like that. So just being able to give back, and that's one of our core values, giving back. That's our accomplishment right there, being able to do that, be active in our community, and just be a part of it,
No, and I know both of you are just huge supporters of our community, and you do
Definitely.
so much. I mean, if I were to say like what my greatest thank you both is for what y'all do for folks in our community. Both of you said something throughout your talk thus far, and I want to dig into that part of the conversation, which is you all talked about learning, research, continued professional development. I'm gonna start with Leslie. I know you were a graduate of 10KSB program. You've probably been I think you were in ICCC as well.
Yes.
So can you talk about that? I know there are many people who are thinking about applying for those programs, thinking about getting involved. I know Charles said he was like, now I know, no is half the battle, right? So what can you say you gained from those programs, and why was that a part of your development?
Listen, anyone who will listen to me, I tell them about 10,000 Small Business Program. That program was amazing. It changed my life. First of all, I met a whole bunch of people, other not just the other entrepreneurs, but the instructors, everyone involved in that program and bringing that program to Baltimore. But it made me look at every single aspect of our business. Like I said, I never owned a business before. My mom, who you spoke of earlier, is my partner. We never had a business like this before. And so when we started, there was a lot of things we didn't know. We didn't know what we didn't know.
Yeah.
And 10,000 Small Businesses made us look at every aspect from HR to marketing to the inner workings of your business, to finances, to everything, every aspect of your business. And so each class, we dug in a little deeper to each aspect of that. And it made me think about things that I never even considered before. Just, being a business owner, you wear so many hats, and there's so many things going on. And some of the little smaller details you think are not important, and they are, and so that program was amazing. I still talk to the advisors from that class, and I was the first cohort, so that was 2017, I think.
No, you're like one of the shining stars.
Yeah, it was an amazing program. And then ICCC, still, the instructors on those programs and the amount of money that those programs put into small businesses, I think is phenomenal. I had never seen anything like, I didn't know things like that existed. I also did the Be More Build College there at Johns Hopkins, and so
Ah,
all of those classes were amazing, and I recommend them to anyone, any entrepreneur, because they're amazing.
I see Charles taking notes. I see you. I know what you're doing, Charles. I see you taking notes while you.
Do it, Charles. Do it. You won't regret it.
Always learning, always learning.
Always learn. Exactly. Exactly.
How did you go about learning? How you and your partner? Is that Nick?
Yes.
Okay, Nick went to high school with us too. So great things happening in Baltimore and from Mervo. But how do you embark upon your education? How do you even approach that as a business owner?
So just, whatever your passion is or whatever it is that you're getting into, if you go to Google, just like Leslie said, and you start looking at those things, you're going to start to get a lot of information and determine what's the right path for you. So, you just start looking up things. You got to determine what's right, what's wrong. So you got to keep on reading to make sure that you have the accurate information. So that's what we do. We just keep digging into that stuff, making sure that we're reading thoroughly through things, or if we are partnering with someone for some type of mentorship or anything like that, we look into them to make sure that it's the proper mentor. Do they have the same values that we have as well, for a business? So that's real important. But there's a lot of things on YouTube, like I said, Google. You can get right on Facebook and pull up things. So you just want to expose yourself to it, because the more the better you'll be ready to face any challenges in your business. And even when you learn wrong information, it's helpful, because now all right, I don't want to do that. So as you're reading stuff, you may read something else that contradicts it. So, you want to be prepared to say, oh, okay, now I understand this. I understand why that wasn't the right thing to do or the right way to go. And just being in that circle. So find a circle to be in that has that same mindset that you have, being an entrepreneur, or just, being in that same business. So if you're in cleaning, then you're in cleaning. If you're circle, if you're a lawyer, you have a circle of lawyers, so that you guys can kick around ideas and talk about different challenges and learning opportunities.
No, it's absolutely, and we've heard over and over again about that circle. And Leslie, you have it through 10KSB, Charles, through your network. Really, that circle, and I'm a lawyer by training. That circle is where you have some of those. Hey, hold on, I just read this rule. Is that how you interpret it? And I've read this series of cases, push back on, so vitally important to have that circle, which people have been talking about. Let me ask you this, and I'm gonna stay with you, Charles, and then go to Leslie, because you talked about challenges. So what are some of the challenges you have faced as a business owner? And what have you done to overcome them, or how are you overcoming them now? COVID certainly wasn't planned for. Nobody penciled that in or put it in ink on 2020. It's happened to all of us, that storm. So what are the challenges you're facing, and how are you dealing with those?
So some of the biggest challenges that we face is, believe it or not, it still is hiring and staffing, and it's the right people. You're depending on people to show up to work, to be there to do the work that they're supposed to do. One of the things that I thought that would have changed through COVID is that we would have been able to hire more people, based on the numbers of job loss and unemployment and things like that. But as we return phone calls, because we do a lot of promotion on Indeed and other sites to acquire employees, we noticed that we call people, and some people just don't want to work, or they don't want the job. So we still have that challenge. And right now, we're doing some learning, and we're trying to educate ourselves more on where to get applicants applicants that truly want to pursue that job, and finding the right applicant that's going to stay there. I think that I don't know, what I don't know. I'm lost there for the employees. That is the challenge. I'm really lost there on how we can, get people and sustain them and hold on to people, without having this high turnover factor. And Leslie, that may be something that you face. I know I'm going to ask you that question later on. So,
Charles has his own questions for you, Leslie.
Yeah.
How are you? What's your challenge? And Charles is, and I think we talked about this in the prep. Leslie said you'll find most businesses have the same challenges. You just don't know it because you're doing your work. But Leslie, what would you say?
Exactly. Same as Charles. And yes, most businesses have the same challenges. And I did not realize that until 10KSB, that a lot of the business owners, we all had the same gripes. One was employees, finding good ones, like Charles said, who want to work, who show up every day on time to, prepare with their PPE and all of that stuff ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
The second biggest challenge we have is that, like you said, we do hire people from our community. We do hire people from the inner city. Actually, most, if not all of our employees are from the inner city, and they rely on public transportation. Fortunately, our public transportation is not dependable. And if we have a job starting, most construction jobs start at 6 a.m. We need our people in place at 6. I have someone, they go out to the bus stop around 5 a.m. and they're supposed to be catching the first bus, but it doesn't show up. And neither does the second one, and it happens too often. It's not dependable and it's unfortunate. And a lot of my former employees have lost their jobs because they cannot get there on time when they need to. We have a contract on Fort Meade, and there's just no public transportation. They don't even get you there on time. And so we have a van that we pick up our employees at Mondawmin is one of the places, but they need to get there on time. And we'll take them to Fort Meade from Mondawmin, but if they can't get there, then still we have the same issue. And it's unfortunate because we've had a lot of people who really wanted to work, who really wanted to provide for their families, and just couldn't get it together. So it's unfortunate. I'm hoping that something happens with the public transportation here, but all I ever hear about is budget cuts.
No, that leads me to the question, and you talk about challenges, and the good news is that there are many people who are problem solvers. Some of them are not famous, but some of them are. And so I want to give you the opportunity. We always know that Oprah and Jeff Bezos watch this. I'm just kidding. But maybe Mike Bloomberg, he's probably cheering you on today, Leslie, hearing all about your champion of the 10KSB. What would you say to those who are sitting at tables of influence, sitting at tables of policy and change, making decisions about how to support businesses like yours? What would you say to them in terms of the things that they can do to ensure that businesses like yours survive, thrive, and multiply in our community? Now start with Chuck.
Okay. So what I would say is, let's look at the opportunity that we have here. One of the dreams that, we have at Priority Commercial Cleaning is to be able to help our schools out, our daycares out, and facilities where our first responders and, our essential staff have to work. So what that looks like to us is, okay, how can we provide a clean, safe environment, for these daycares that are struggling as well throughout COVID? How can we do the same for the schools and other facilities? So businesses like mine, we need funding. We need that opportunity to be able to go in, service that building, and help them out. So we've tried to reach out to other businesses or people that are at that table and come up with some type of partnership and say, well, hey, how can we get this done for, this school or this daycare at no charge or at a very minimum charge? They're in the community, they're, the parents, of this facility, all work in nursing homes or hospitals and things like that. So they're essential and they're trying to go to work. They have children. What are they going to do with their children during this time? So how can we provide the services to them? So, we're definitely looking for, any type of funding or partnerships that we can put in place so that we can allocate those funds and services to those facilities. At some point, schools may open back up, especially with a vaccine on the horizon. But then we have to think, is everybody going to take the vaccine?
Yeah.
You don't know if they're when people start to enter back into facilities, you may still have people with COVID. Some people have the vaccine, but COVID's still going to spread. It's still going to be there. So what can we do to help reduce or stop the spread? That's going to be cleaning. So cleaning's still going to be there. It's still going to be prominent. You're going to need it. So what are some things that we can put in place to really help those individuals go to work safely and to help stop or slow the spread of COVID? So that's what I would say to those people sitting at the table, help priority commercial, make the country a priority, and let's put some safe, clean measures in place.
Excellent. I think they heard you. I mean, that was beautiful. It's like
I'm talking to you, Oprah.
I'm talking to you, Oprah. Leslie, what would you say?
Well, I'd like to advocate for better transportation, public transportation in the city, make it affordable, and they probably have some of the same challenges that Charles and I have as far as getting employees to come to work on time. But there has to be an answer. The city moves, by public transportation. So I'd really like to advocate for that. That's a huge challenge for not just us, for a lot of people, especially those essential workers, because we all know that most of the essential workers are the lower income workers who really do rely on the public transportation. So powers that be, if you're out there looking, please look into that and see what we can do to move people about safely.
Yep. No, so let me ask this. I'm gonna ask this question coming through the chat, coming on Facebook. What's the next big thing for your businesses? What's next? You both are business owners that are not afraid to pivot. Clearly keep up with the time. You learn, you research, but what's next for your businesses? What can we see on the horizon? I'll start with you, Leslie, and then go to Chuck.
Well, part of my growth plan from 10,000 Small Businesses was to get into government contracts, and so we have been focusing on that. We're definitely looking to build our janitorial side. We do over half of our businesses in post-construction cleaning. So we're definitely trying to grow our janitorial side. We want to get into facility management as well. So we're just trying to scale and take it to the next step, next level.
No, excellent. Chuck, what's next? What's next on the horizon?
So the same for us. We're researching now and getting more education on the federal side of it with those contracts and and bids and things like that. So that's one of our next big steps. Also lined up with that is we want to be the primary cleaners for those Amazon facilities, for those Johns Hopkins. For those mercy.
Come on over, y'all. Come on over.
Hey, all right. I'll call you right after this.
All right, call me.
Yep.
Call me.
So that's where we want to go in the next 3 to 5 years. We would really like to be in a position where we're operating in multiple states and able to provide opportunities in communities that look like ours. And beyond. We don't want to be in a box. We want to be on a national level. So that's really where we want to be at in the next 3 to 5 years. And then once we're able to build that platform and we're there, we hope that we're also in a good position to get back to that real estate and start to develop in our communities, create affordable housing, help beautify neighborhoods, and not gentrify them, but, to build up, what we have and give back to the community in that way.
Excellent, excellent. We got a question in from people texting on their phones. One just saying congratulations and thank you to both of you. But you both mentioned experiencing downturns in your businesses during the recession, whether it was 2008 or this recession, the health recession. Knowing all that you know now, what advice would you give to starting entrepreneurs about how to build a safety net in advance during challenging times? So how do they build that safety net to be able to survive, thrive, and multiply during this time? What would you say, Chuck?
Consistency. Consistency is key. So, stay focused. Things are going to get hard. It's going to be difficult, but stay focused. If it's your passion, if it's something that you enjoy, things will work out, in your favor, but you have to stay consistent to it. That's one thing. Your mindset, keep your mindset, in the right place, in the right position. Things are always going to change. So the more you educate yourself and you stay consistent, you'll be ready for that pivot more than you know, because when things happen, something that you read or something that you looked at or researched, it's going to come up. Also, when you're in business, you'll find that you start to talk to people in other businesses. So if something is happening and it's affecting your business, you'll be talking to someone that has another business idea, and you can quickly shift, to make that adaptation, adoption. You'll be able to do that. So, those are some things that I would say, to what you can do to, be ready, for those changes. It's scary, but stay consistent. You will get through it. Talk to your mentors, they'll help you get through it. Even us, reach out to us, we'll be happy to, talk you through things, provide any resources or tips or tools that we can as well.
Excellent, excellent. Leslie, what would you say?
I 100% agree with Charles. You have to have the right mindset. You have to stay consistent. Trust in God. Have faith in yourself. Know that, like he said, it's the hard times don't last forever. Don't be so ready to give up. You do get some bumps and bruises along the way. You definitely do, but it makes you tougher. It makes you, do things that you didn't really know you were capable of doing, but you find that you are. Stay consistent. Sorry, I've got some things going on here. If he brought you to it, he'll bring you through it. So pray. And
absolutely.
Yes.
And not, like Charles said, your mentors, talk to your network of people, your other entrepreneurs. They're encouraging. You find that you're not. It's comforting knowing that it's not just you. You're not the only one struggling and suffering, going through the downturn as well. It's comforting to know that misery loves company. I guess I don't know, but it's comforting to know that you're not alone, and it really does help.
Someone asked, text again, and first they said, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us all today. How do you both remain motivated as an entrepreneur? The sun shining today. I did look out the window. I stay in the house most of the time because of COVID, but it is sunshine today. But there are many times when it rains, literally, but also figuratively. How do you both remain motivated?
You stay hungry. I'm sorry, were you me?
Yeah. You go, jump right in.
I'm so hungry. Like if you put your blood and sweat into building your business, so you just keep clawing at it and you keep doing what you have to do. Um, I think Charles has the right attitude. He said, "Hey, I'm walking, I'm breathing today. I'm good." And he's right. You have to be positive. You have to stay motivated. You have to keep yourself motivated. I have little um, things on my wall that just reminds me to smile. Even just answering the phone, answer with a smile. That comes across on the. You just have to remain positive. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you can do this.
No, absolutely. Charles, what would you say? How you remain motivated? How are you keeping up?
Yeah. So, well, I stay motivated. I have a beautiful wife. 3 kids at home. So that's my biggest motivation there. Making sure that I'm taking care of those guys. So I believe in living my life for my legacy, and I want for my children and my family, to be able to, say, hey, this is what dad or this is what my husband, created for me. Tomorrow's not promised. So if I have something in place for them or in place for my community, then my legacy and that name, will live on as something positive, that I've given back. I'm a very optimistic person. I have conversations with my wife, and I could tell a lot of times I'm coming off as this, this person where, how does he think that he's going to build a skyscraper tomorrow? But I'm so optimistic that that's the way that I think. I think that if you want to really get it done, you can make it happen. There's resources out there, there's people out there, and if you have that dream, there's somebody else that has it too. If you have the right network of resources, you can put it together, and you can build that skyscraper tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, anything can happen, and there's a whole lot of people that specialize in doing the impossible.
Right.
And they do it every single day. So absolutely. Let me make sure, because I know I'm going to run out of time. I know I have 3 minutes, but I wanted to do this, and then I'm going to ask you a final question. Charles, tell us, how can people get in contact with you? Priority Cleaning. How can people get back in contact with you?
Yeah, sure. No problem. So first thing is they can call me directly. My phone number is 410-970-6172. They can follow us on social media. So on Instagram, we're priority_commercial_cleaning. On Facebook, Priority Commercial Cleaning. Twitter, we are at the letter P, cleaning. Or you can email me as well. And that's info, INFO, at prioritycleaningllc.com.
And you have a website?
Yes, and our website is prioritycleaningllc.com. Excellent.
How about you, Leslie? How can we all get in contact with you?
They can reach us by phone, email, website. The website is www.dlcleanup.com. Email is info@dlcleanup.com, or call the office 410-462-1200. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
Oh, y'all are both courageous. Both of y'all gave out your phone numbers on the internet. So I love it. Y'all are real business folks. Y'all are hustlers. Yeah,
Call me.
y'all are hustlers. This is great. We've been so blessed. First of all, let me just say thank you so much for spending this time with us. Also, thank you for who you are in our community. They are both very modest and humble individuals, but they are people who make a difference and a dent in our community. And we thank you for what you do philanthropically, but also for employing folks in our neighborhoods and in our community. It means so much. So next, let me give an interview. Well, someone said, thank you for this great interview. Stay blessed. Oh, thank you, Minnie.
Thank you.
So let me give, next week we have a sweet Entrepreneurship Matters. We're going to be talking to 2 amazing bakeries, Midnight confection. So Aaron McNeil, I don't know if any of you had Midnight Confections. They are the best cupcakes in this world. And Amanda Mack with Crust by Mac. You do not want to miss this. These are two amazing bakeries, local Black-owned bakeries. So you do not want to miss seeing them. Please continue to follow us on JH Connects on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Email us feedback, jhconnects@jhu.edu. I want to thank our community partners, Johns Hopkins University, Johns Hopkins Health System, Hopkins Local, the Mayor's Office of Small Minority and Women-Owned Business, and the Warnock Foundation. So thank you, Charles. Thank you, Leslie. And
Thank
see
you
you
so much.
next week.
Be blessed.
Bye-bye.
Bye.